Hi LinkedIn family, this is Manoj. So today I'm going to give you the brief introduction to the JavaScript. So basically, what is JavaScript? JavaScript is nothing but is a popular programming language that is used to develop the dynamic web pages. So basically, along with HTML and CSS, JavaScript is a main component for interacting with the client side and the server side. So JavaScript mainly it is introduced by the name by the scientist called Brendan Heitch. So basically it is introduced in 90s, and it is very popular and powerful programming languages which will support both the functional programming approach as well as object-oriented programming approach. So what is the difference between functional programming approach and the object-oriented programming approach? So as you have studied in Java, so Java is nothing but an object-oriented programming language. So it involves classes and objects. We create an instance of a class and all those things. So in JavaScript also it is there. We will create all the instance and all those things, but mainly it is powerful in terms of a functional programming approach. This is what we carry out in the industry today. So that is a functional programming approach. So it is a weakly and dynamically typed language, because as you compare it with the Java, so Java is used to have it is a strongly and statically typed language, because what happens in Java is, so you have one compilation cycle in the Java, so where all the compilation is done in the compilation phase. So whereas in JavaScript all the compilation and parsing is done in the runtime. Yes, the parsing and compilation is done in the runtime. So that is why it is called as a weakly and dynamically typed language. So JavaScript is a weakly and dynamically typed language. So for example, I will show you one instance here. So this is a JavaScript code. So favorite number is 1990. So I'm console logging it, and I'm assigning this favorite number is already assigned with a number type. So again, I'm reassigning those to a string. So when I do this, it will still give me this updated value. So in case of the statically typed language like Java, if you assign the number variable and if you try to override it with the string, it will throw an error in the Java. So that is what it will, in statically strongly and statically typed language, it will not support the type conversions, implicit conversions. So JavaScript is very powerful in terms of that. So it will implicitly convert whenever you are overriding it. It will implicitly convert the number type into string. That is what I'm telling. So this is what the speciality of the JavaScript. So why the JavaScript is very popular in this whole world means, this is the reason. It is a dynamically typed language. In dynamically, all the logics are coded in the JavaScript libraries and all those stuffs, So the explicit conversion is not at all necessary in the JavaScript. So Java is a straightforward where we need some explicit conversions in all those things. So I'll show you an example here. So as you can see here in the class hello world, if you are declaring one int variable and try to override it, so in the right side you can see the error will come. So that is what. With the Java. So with the JavaScript will not get any error. Instead, the implicit conversion happens within the inside. So that is the case in JavaScript. So another example is if you declare a function of JavaScript with 3 arguments, if you call that function without passing an argument also, you are not getting an error. You will get an undefined. In case of a statically program, if you do not pass an argument to this function, you will get an error. So this is the difference what you see with the statically strongly compared and statically typed language and weakly and dynamically typed language. This is what you see the difference. So as you can see with the Java example I'm showing you. So if you do this, you will get an error. So you will get a Java runtime error. So That is what strictly typed language is. It will, in the compilation phase only, it will determine the data types, what type of data it is storing there and all those things. Yeah, this is the example of statically typed languages. Every variable will be clearly defined, and every variable assignment will be clearly checked by the compiler and for type compatibility. That is what. So weakly typed language is nothing but it will support the weak comparisons. So that is what in the previous example I told you, that is a weak comparison. So this is in the case of some statically typed, it will not support the weak comparison. So we need to explicitly convert that, or else you will get an error in the console. So the JavaScript, basically it is introduced in 1995 by the Netscape Communication Corporations. So when it was introduced, it had another name called a LiveScript. So due to the popularity of the programming language, they went with the name JavaScript. So this is how the JavaScript name came, the history of the JavaScript. So the official name is that is ECMAScript. ECMAScript version will be released in the day-to-day time. Initially, the JavaScript was introduced to create a dynamic web pages. That is what it is a hot topic here. So at that time in the 1995, there were no dynamic. There were static web pages. So to create a dynamic web page, JavaScript was necessary. So I'll show you how the server works. So so let me show you that. So I'll paint it. So yeah. So here, so you have a browser. This is a very basic how the web page works. Here you have some www.google.com or something, your website. Pardon me for my painting, so I'm not a good writer. So here your web page is loading, right? So your web page is loading, and so this is a front end, this is a client side, this is the server. Yeah, this is server. So the request goes from the client side to the server. So the server will send the response. So basically the request goes to there's a prototype called protocol. So this is a protocol. We have some HTTP and HTTPS protocol. I will explain you at the later stages. This is just fundamentals how the web page works. So the request goes to the server. Server will have database. The database will send the response with the response code and all those stuffs. And so first the HTML file will be loaded, and the CSS file will be loaded, and then the script file will be loaded. So the JS file will be loaded. So JS is nothing but it is used to control the dynamic behavior of the web page. JavaScript. So that is what it's doing. This is how the web works clearly. So sorry for my handwriting. I was just showing you how that works. So basically what happens is the JavaScript normal compilation in the statically programming language happens at the compilation phase. So JavaScript, what happens is JavaScript compilation and parsing will happens at the runtime. It is not happens in the compilation phase, because the variable type and the variable variable functionality will be determined in the runtime. That is what JavaScript's specialty is. So JavaScript runtime, at the runtime the compilation parse will occur. So it can be executed in both client and server side. So client side, as you can see in the browser, whatever you are browsing. So in the console.log, so I can execute the JavaScript code at the console. Let me show you that. If I go here, if I type 5, let's say 5, this is a JavaScript code. If you give console.log, so that is A. So this is you are running the JavaScript code in the client side. So basically what happens is, this is the browser. Let me show you in another browsers. So this is the Chrome web browser. This web browser will have one V8 engine. So the web browser has one V8 engine. So this V8 engine is responsible for executing the script. So before sending the script into the VS engine, there are 3 phases. One is at the runtime, the compilation and parsing will happen. I'm saying the parsing word because the parsing is nothing but it is the conversion of the HTML element into objects. So the HTML elements into objects. So that is what parsing means. So what happens is, this V8 engine will not understand the HTML elements. V8 engine always understands the JavaScript object. So in order to convert that HTML elements, whatever you are writing in the index.html, that should be converted into objects, JavaScript objects. So hence that is the parsing process is done. So after parsing, the script will be converted into a machine code, that is a binary level code, in which the browser will understand and it will execute the code on the browser. So that is what is happening here. So this is how the JavaScript engine works. So it can be executed on both client side as well as the server side. So client side, as I told, in the browser console you can run your JavaScript code. And one more thing is, you have something called as a server. In server the JavaScript code runs. We have a thing called Node.js that will take care of server side rendering of the JavaScript. So Node.js will use some npm package, that is Node Package Manager, to maintain the packages. So different browsers have different engines. For example, Chrome browser has a V8 engine, Mozilla Firefox has a SpiderMonkey, and Internet Explorer has Chakra, and so on. So the HTML elements, whatever the HTML elements is, I will tell you the good example for DOM. So DOM is nothing but document object module. Whenever you refresh the web browser, a DOM will be created, because DOM is nothing but an object, document object model of the it is a representation of the HTML elements. That's it. That is a DOM. It is a representation of the HTML elements. So the V8 engine doesn't understand the HTML elements. It will understand the JavaScript object. That is what DOM is doing. DOM acts as like an interface between the V8 engine and the JavaScript code. That is the DOM's. DOM stands for document object model. So using the DOM, you can add, subtract, or anything. You can modify the HTML elements by using some DOM methods that I will show in the upcoming sessions. So this is what DOM is, the document object model. So whenever the parsing happens, the HTML elements will be converted into JavaScript objects, and the attributes of the HTML element will be converted into properties of the JavaScript. So this is what happens. So there are two main objects of JavaScript. One is window object, and another one is document object. So window represents the browser's tab. So the So the alert prompt, so alert and prompt are all Windows methods. So if you give alert hello, so it will give an alert message, because this is popping up in the browser because browser always already has that alert method in it. Also, if you want to take a prompt from the user, give a number, we'll store it in so that is the DOM purpose. So we have a document which will represents the root of the DOM. So window will be the base object and document will be the root. So that is the small introduction about the JavaScript. Hope you liked it. Thank you.